How's it going, ITA world? This is Tyler. We're coming live from our headquarters here in Chicago to do a little roundtable about teaching English in Europe. So we are surrounded by amazing staff members who did the same. I also taught in Europe, but was not asked to be on the panel, but I'm not bitter about it. But if you want to talk about Warsaw, I would love to. But yeah, so we're here live. I wore blue because my mom said it would make my eyes pop. Thank you for noticing, Britton. And according to Instagram, this is my best side, so you will be seeing a lot of this. So I'm going to start introducing our teachers. Why don't you say your name, where you taught, a little bit about the country you taught in the classroom, so that everyone out there at ITA universe knows kind of who you are. Let's start with Erin.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Erin. I'm a student affairs advisor here at International TEFL Academy. I actually taught in France with the TEFL program, the teaching assistant program in France. I was placed in a very, very small town called Bourgoin-Jallieu. Yes, you're never going to remember that. Okay, and it was just outside of Lyon. So I lived in Lyon and I commuted every day. I worked with middle schoolers, which I think was payback for how I treated my teachers in middle school. I worked at 2 different ones with ages 10 to 15. And yeah, I had a blast. I was there for about 10 months of the school year.
Awesome, and I'm glad you're not one of those pretentious French speakers who pronounces the words like that. That's awesome. Danielle, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Danielle. I'm an admissions advisor here at International TEFL Academy, and I taught in Italy for 3 years. So I was actually in Rome. I worked at a couple of different language schools, which is pretty normal to do in Italy, kind of working at multiple schools. And what's interesting about a lot of schools in Italy as well is they partner with public schools. So I had the ability to work at elementary, middle, high schools, with college level, up to adults. So pretty much everywhere from kindergarten up until their 60s. Came back from my experience and actually worked at an international college here in Chicago. So just letting everybody know that there are possibilities to come back and still work in this field after your experience abroad.
Didn't want to tell us you were in Roma, huh? We're going with the Rome. Very nice. Let's move over here. Let's get Britton. Let's get Britton on the open road. Really tell us about yourself, Britton. What's going on?
Thank you. Your eyes look fantastic, by the way. I can tell you. But yeah, my name's Britton. I'm an admissions advisor here at ITA, and I taught English in Prague, in the Czech Republic, right in Central Europe. I taught business professionals for about 1.5 years. Got back about 1 year ago. In Czech, they call it Praha. We call it Prague here.
That's nice. All right, that was opened up. We really opened up Britton there. That was the most he's ever spoken, so that is a bonus. And let's move on to Erica. Where did you teach?
All right, hey guys, I'm Erica. I'm an admissions advisor over here at International TEFL Academy, and I taught abroad in Spain for 4 years. I was in Madrid the entire time. I was doing the Cultural Ambassadors program for the first year, where you essentially work as a language assistant in public schools over in Spain. And then the next 3 years after that, I was mainly private tutoring. I was teaching a mix of children and also private tutoring business professionals as well.
That's awesome. Spain, great. There's a lot of people that want to go to Spain, so I'm sure we'll get to you. Yeah. And then you cannot see her, but that doesn't mean that she's not there. We have Helen, who is, speaking of Spain, in Spain right now, España, if you will. Tell us about yourself, Helen, and where you taught and what you're doing.
For sure. Hey, guys. It's good to see those eyes, Tyler. Oh, my God. It's been so long.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, my name's Helen. I taught in Madrid, like Erica, and I'm back here now working remote for ITA. So, what's nice about this industry as well, like Danielle was saying, is that you can find work in all different fields and whatnot, and still, live abroad. So I'm working remote right now in Madrid, just kind of seeing old students. Actually, ran into an old coworker today randomly on the street in Madrid. So, small world.
Gotta love the tapas. Very cool. So now that we have introduced everyone at the roundtable, I'm just going to start asking some questions, firing off. If you have something that you want to say, just go ahead and jump in as well. Or if you have questions, please send us questions, because that stops me from having to create them on the top of my head, and we're live, and I don't want to make people, managers, uncomfortable, that kind of thing. So shoot us questions. Let's Danielle, why did you choose Italy? I know it's a popular destination. I know a lot of students want to go there. What made you want to go to Italy and choose that?
So probably like a lot of you, I actually studied abroad in Italy and then fell in love with the country, because why wouldn't you? And just wanted to find a way to get back. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have been researching how to teach abroad. How is it possible for Americans or Canadians to get abroad? And you probably found that the easiest way to do so is to teach English. So kind of the same idea. I figured I'll be an English teacher, and that way I can go live and work over in Italy and have a longer term experience than my study abroad. So that's pretty much what I did. I packed up right after college, headed over there during the hiring season on a tourist visa. So I'm sure that's something we'll cover as well, as the visa processes over in Europe. But yeah, I mean, I just fell in love with my study abroad experience in Rome and knew that I wanted to go back long term and wanted to find a way to do it. Teaching is really the easiest way to make this happen.
Definitely. And she mentioned visas. If you hear this is because it's such a quick roundtable, if you're out there, if you have an advisor, if you don't have an advisor, definitely reach out to one and call them. And so we can cover this and go more in depth. Britton, why did you choose Praha?
Praha in the Czech Republic. Yeah, so I decided to teach there because it is dead center in the heart of Europe. I had never really traveled abroad before going to teach. That was my main motive for doing this. I wanted to see the world, or at least see Europe. For starters, so could take easy weekend trips to Berlin, Vienna, Budapest, jump on a plane and head to London or whatever it is. So I knew there was lots of teaching jobs there. I did have the ability to get a work visa in the Czech Republic, as most Americans, Canadians, etc. can. So between having the legal right to work there, plenty of jobs, and then easy travel on the weekend, those were my big three reasons for choosing Prague.
Yeah, if I was on the panel and asked, I would have said the same about Poland. I think it's a great reason. Don't sleep on Central Europe. It is a great place to teach and be. Okay, so a lot of these jobs in Europe's very different from Asia, but you get your job in person, right? I'm going to ask the two teachers that we have that taught in Spain, because it seems like maybe you did it a different route. But Erica, how did you find your job? I know, and any job hunting tips or any advice for those that are looking to do maybe the same program?
Yeah, totally. So I started out my first year, I was doing the Cultural Ambassadors program over there. And that is essentially an opportunity to be on a student visa. It's a government sponsored program. So they sponsor your student visa for you so that you're there legally, and was doing that for the full year. And I absolutely loved it. But I was working as a language assistant, and I kind of wanted to have the opportunity to be in charge a little bit more. So then my next 3 years, I was actually on an internship that again allowed me to be on a student visa, but I wasn't in the cultural ambassador program anymore. I was working at language academies. I was also private tutoring, and kind of combining all of that together to make a good income. As I'd been there for a little bit longer, I started finding that my private tutoring pipeline was growing exponentially. So something kind of cool about Spain, and Helen, I'm sure you can vouch for this too, is that people are very social over there, and everyone has a friend who wants English classes, and then all their friends want English classes, and it just kind of grows and grows. So over time, I started finding that my private tutoring classes were getting really booked because my students' friends wanted classes, and then their friends wanted classes. And then after a while, I was able to kind of step away from the language academies and focus more on private tutoring, because I was making a better income with that by kind of combining some of my classes together. I was able to strategize like the locations of where I was giving classes from as well. And so that all really helped me build out a solid pipeline, get a better income stream going, and be able to travel around Spain with that money.
Awesome. Yeah, Helen, if you want to add to that.
Am I on the screen? Oh, it's changed. Okay. I was wondering who's watching. No, but yeah, no, so I taught in Madrid, and I just decided to come over here, what is that, 6 years ago or something like that, initially, and went and just started interviewing, similar to Erica. People, like the second day I was here, someone walked up to me and could hear my beautiful, lovely American accent and asked if I was an English teacher. And I said yes. So I started working for that guy. He was a lawyer, so I worked in his law firm and taught his grandkids. And then from there, just the private tutoring kept growing and growing and growing. So absolutely, it's just so easy to find jobs in Madrid. And what's also cool about the certification that you're going to get with ITA is that there's student teaching involved. And that was definitely clutch when it came to, the actual interview process. To see that you actually had a little work experience was really important. Not technical work experience, but to see that it wasn't your first day teaching was really, important as well, to kind of differentiate yourself from other, candidates in the freelance tutoring pool here in Madrid.
Awesome. So it sounds like you got to be like clips. You got to be out there grinding, but it can absolutely change and add to your
nice little niche reference there, Tyler.
Thank you. For those of you that got that reference, follow my playlist on Spotify.
I think that's a really good tip too.
True or false, you get nap time in Spain?
So in Madrid, not so much, but in southern Spain, it is true. Every place closes from 3 to 5. I don't know if they're taking a nap necessarily. Maybe they're like watching TV or something. But yeah, everything shuts down. Madrid, everything's open 3 to 5.
So there you have it, southern Spain. All right, Erin, I saved this question for you because you just got back from the country that you taught in, France. So I'll say it like that. So what is the best and the worst thing about teaching in your country? And when you were there this last week, what made you miss that country the most?
Yes, I did just get back 2 days ago, so the jet lag is still kind of real. One of the best things for me was I actually got to see what it's like working in a public school in a different country. I thought it was so fascinating to see how different it is compared to the US. Kids these days complain about long school days. These kids were in class from like 9 to 5 in France, but then they got Wednesday half days. So that was kind of nice. So Wednesdays was kind of our siesta day where we only had a half day, got to go home, do a nap, or do another type of job. But it was just really interesting to see kind of the inner workings of a public school in another country. So that's what I really liked, and to see how different it was. And that might not be the best answer, but for me, I thought that was pretty cool. Some of the worst things I worked with the TEFL program, so the teaching assistant program. So I was technically a teaching assistant. However, unlike Erica, they actually gave me free reign. I would take half the class, and I got to go in my own classroom and do things. However, I had to split between 2 different schools, and this is actually very common with these types of programs. So I was placed at 2 middle schools, and they were about an hour away from each other, and I would have to work twice a week at at both schools. So my lunch hour was commuting from one school to the other. And there wasn't a bus to one, so that usually meant like a 45-minute to an hour walk to the other school. I was in the best shape of my life, I will say. But yeah, so that was probably one of the hardest. Not a lot of people actually realize when you're doing some of these government programs in Europe that you actually will be at more than one school. So it's something to consider. You're not going to have full-time hours at just one school. I had a friend who worked at 3 different schools. So that was just kind of rough, that commuting lifestyle. I got used to it. It was only 10 months, so it wasn't so bad. But despite all that, people always ask me would I do this program again in a heartbeat, because I just love France. I love being able to walk into a classroom and being able to teach, about America and the different cultures, and, make jokes about different stereotypes and things like that happen. So for me, it was definitely hard to leave on Sunday because I had a flashback of all the memories, like walking through my old streets that I used to live in and the commute that I used to make, things like that. So yeah, in a heartbeat, even though it was rough, I would definitely do it again.
Awesome. I have a note here to say, feel free to congratulate France on the World Cup. For those of you that don't know, that's like the Super Bowl of the other sport. So congrats to France on that win. We're gonna break it up. We're gonna take a question. Somebody asked out there, how important is it to have a bachelor's to getting accepted? Again, we always recommend to call and talk to your advisor. To take the TEFL program, to take the TEFL class, a bachelor is not required. Some of these countries will require a bachelor's. Somewhere like Prague or Italy, places like Spain, Germany do not. So they do have options throughout Europe. So definitely get in touch with an advisor, and it is definitely something that you can still do.
I taught without a degree. Okay. I taught in Madrid without a degree when I was like 20, 21. So definitely doable. Europe is a great market to consider if you don't have a degree. So
absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna we good thing we're not live and I'm not getting thrown off here. It's nice. We're gonna switch it up a little bit with these questions. So we've been talking about like why you chose your country, what you were doing there. I would like to know the best souvenir that you purchased in your country in like 10 words or less and brought home with you. Britton, you're gonna be first. Oh yeah, had to. There. For those of you at home, that's what we call a setup. I'll set that one up for you.
0 words required.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of those fans that like you pull them out and then I have like 10 of them, and it's something that's like in art over in Spain. Like people use them to talk. They'll be like fanning themselves off and like using it to describe what they're talking about, or they're like whacking the fan against their hand to like say something really powerful that they're trying to get across. So I don't know. They think it's like it's like part of their language for them.
For those of you at home, teachers in Spain apparently don't follow the 10-word rule. But thank you, Erica. Helen.
I love my fans.
I guess I brought home a boyfriend one time, so souvenir for a while.
Okay, Danielle.
Is that a goal? Are we live?
I brought home different specialty items in Italy that I couldn't find back here in the United States so that I can cook the recipes that I learned how to make.
Oh, me too. That's what I meant to say.
Yes, definitely. I brought home lots and lots of French wine, for sure.
Perfect. All right, so we discussed you're moving to Europe, right? A degree, not degree, what you can talk to your advisor about. The other question that we get asked a lot is salary, right? What are you going to make when you're living in Europe? Because it's going to be different maybe than somewhere living in Asia. I can speak to break even, which scares, I think, a lot of students when they see break even. Tell us what are some of the things you could do, Britton, on this break even salary, or could you save and kind of your living style there?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are intimidated by the idea of a break-even salary. Like, I'm going to be pinching pennies. I'm not going to be able to travel or do what I want. And that's not the case. You can still live a good lifestyle. I was traveling once or twice a month on the weekends. I wasn't staying in luxury hotels or anything, but with budget traveling, I was certainly able to do that. Had a nice apartment near the city center, going out to eat a lot with my friends. I wasn't saving a ton of money. If I wanted to, maybe could have saved $100 a month of my $1,000 salary. Per month, but yeah, break even. My goal is to travel, and I was able to do that, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, Danielle, what in Italy? Because you said you're doing some private teaching too. So.
Yeah, Italy is actually a pretty high cost of living. So just working off of a teacher's salary, you'll cover your expenses. You'll pay your bills. You'll go out with friends. But like Britton was saying, you're not really going to make enough money to live a lavish lifestyle or do the amount of traveling that I wanted to do living in Europe. So what I did first and foremost, I lived with 5 other people. So my rent was really low. And I also lived with Italians that made me speak Italian all day, every day outside of the classroom, which was really nice for me. And then, like Erica said, I private tutored. So for the 3 years that I was there, the last year I exclusively private tutored because I was making about 3 times as much as a private tutor as I was making in the school system. So I was able at that point to earn enough money I paid like 6 months rent up front, and I traveled to 10 different countries that last year that I was living there. So for anyone that's kind of thinking, I want to live in Europe and I'm dead set on working in schools, like that's a great experience. Work in the schools, but also just be really open to private tutoring because it really can change your lifestyle. And again, just the opportunities to travel and do the things that you want to do while you're living abroad.
Absolutely.
I will completely second that for Spain as well. Like, don't get me wrong, it takes some work to build out your pipeline of private tutoring. But once you get to that point, especially with the word of mouth that exists in both Spain and in Italy as well, you can really start doing well for yourself. Like after about a year, that's when I was making a really comfortable income where I felt like I was even coming out ahead and not even just breaking even anymore, and was able to start seeing a lot of places. And it's part of the reason I stayed for so long, because my income was growing. But yeah, you just got to be patient and persistent at the beginning.
And I'm kind of the opposite. I actually blew through my savings in France because I was with the teaching assistant program. So I actually had a really, really rough schedule of 12 hours a week. Yes, that's right. You only work 12 hours a week with this program. You are allowed to get a second job, which I filled in with some babysitting, some private teaching. But for me, it was all about the experience. So I was constantly traveling, constantly doing like through different countries in Europe. I went home for Christmas holidays, things like that. So that's why I had to go to Asia afterwards, because I had to recoup my losses, but I still wouldn't, you know, forgo anything that I did. That's what I wanted. I wanted that experience. I knew that money would be there, and I could have. My friends definitely were living that, you know, break-even lifestyle because they had second jobs. I was just a little bit lazy. I was right out of college. I wanted to experience France, and so that's what I did. So definitely keep in mind when you're, you know, doing one of those programs, you do have the opportunity. I'm sure you only had maybe like 15 hours that you were also as well. You can do second jobs, or you can be like me, but then you're going to go through your savings.
True story. She did go to Asia, where she was put in charge of hiring teachers, and I think she made one great hire. That was me, for those of you. She hired me in Hong Kong, and now we work together here. I just want to drop that whenever I can. So also, teaching online, I'm just going to say this as well. One of the perks of Central Europe, Czech Republic, Poland, they're not on the euro. So if you are in these countries, you can private teach. When you teach online, the cost of living in Warsaw is probably $800 a month. You teach online for 20 hours a week, you are definitely more than okay on that. So that's always something to look at too when you're working.
Ooh, me, choose me.
I think something, Helen.
Well, I just had lunch the other day with a friend here in Madrid as well. Cost of living is a bit higher for sure, but we met teaching. She was a teacher here. She's from Milwaukee. And we just caught up, and so she works exclusively now for a company online, and she's even in like the management now, so she does HR there. So even in, you know, Madrid, she's making like 3 times as much as she would make there. She and her husband have their own place. He doesn't work. Unfortunately, there's quite unemployment here for Spaniards, so she is able to make money for 2 people just teaching online, and has that flexibility to travel and whatnot. So definitely, even if you're not, you know, in Central Europe or anywhere around the world, teaching online would be a great option for a little extra cash, for sure.
Yeah, I wish that was a thing when I was doing it. I totally would have done it. I'm sure some of you guys would probably agree.
Same.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you have it, online teaching. Let's bring it up. We got some questions here. One of them being, is there any way to teach in the Czech Republic without a bachelor's degree? That's a good question. Again, I highly recommend calling your advisor and chatting with them, because we do speak in generals a lot of time. And what we say is, research shows that you want to have a degree to teach in Czech Republic, especially somewhere like Prague. Britton, I don't know if you want to speak to that, if you've taught with anyone that didn't have a degree. If you do take a course in person, and we can get to that online and in person later, it does increase your chances. There's always ways that you can always grind and stuff, but we say you want to have a degree, but talk to your advisor. I don't know if you want to touch on anything about that as well from your time there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different countries you can teach in. They all have their different rules and regulations. Maybe a bachelor's degree is required for the work visa. Maybe it's a language school thing where you might struggle to find a job if you don't have a bachelor's degree. All that said, I did have a few friends that I knew in the Czech Republic who didn't have a bachelor's degree. They certainly found it more challenging to find work, but they were able to do it. So I guess in some countries where there's a will, there's a way, but I would absolutely recommend speaking with your advisor about the specific country, because the rules do change.
Definitely. And then we'll take another question while we're on this. If speaking the local language fluently would make it easier to find a job, you clearly, we heard you speak French. Do you speak Italian? I know that Helen speaks Spanish. I don't know for a fact, but I'm gonna say you don't speak Czech. So we're gonna go this way.
Yeah.
Can you
So I was an Italian major, so I definitely do speak Italian. And for the interview process or getting in touch with employers, I would kind of switch off between the language. Sometimes they would respond to me in Italian, which was interesting if I had written my first email or tried to have contact in English. So for the majority, almost everything was done in English. I don't think that it gave me any kind of advantage that I knew Italian, also because you're never going to speak that language in the classroom. You are going to do full immersion English classes. You're going to pretend to not know the language if you do know it. So I never used Italian in my job. My coworkers all spoke English, my admin, my school director, every single person. And I think that there was the question is, if you know the language, can you receive higher pay? In Italy, at least, or at least in my experiences, that was non-negotiable. Whatever the hourly rate was that they were offering to you, it was kind of a take it or leave it, mostly because there's other people that want that job. There's plenty of people that would take the lower salary to have the opportunity to work in Italy, so they don't find the need to negotiate. If you don't want to accept their salary or their hourly wage, there's plenty of other people that do. So I didn't see that that was something I was able to do.
Dziękuję. That's Polish, but I learned during my time in Poland. Helen, do you want to speak to that as well?
Pues es que estoy viviendo. Oh, I'm so sorry. Was that? Oh my God. No, I'm done. No, I'm done. I'll drop the mic. No, yeah, you don't need to know the language. I came here to learn the language, so it's just a great way to learn the language. But I also would advise not being intimidated by the full immersion thing. It can feel like a lot just to be like, you have to go in and speak in English. A lot of these students have quite a bit of experience with English. So like the lawyers that I taught when I was 20, it was like, okay, I don't even have a degree and I'm teaching lawyers English. So the first day I was freaking out, but I found that they really just wanted to learn how to better just communicate. So we'd have conversations, talk about differences between Spain and the United States, and just, you know, sometimes we'd even go out for a beer, and like that would be class, just hanging out and like conversing. So it's nothing to be too intimidated by. But if you want to learn the language, fantastic. But if you're thinking about going somewhere for a reason, you don't know the language, don't by no means let that hold you back, because you don't need it to get there.
Perfect.
I think it helps you integrate with the locals if that's like one of your goals. Like if you want to have a group of friends who are from that city, then awesome. But like, yeah, in the schools, you don't really have to worry about speaking it ever. I actually, as I started getting better at my Spanish, I started speaking to my students in Spanish, and they told me to stop doing that because they didn't want them to default and to like speaking in Spanish with me and using it as a crutch, which was really hard to do because some of my kids said really hilarious things in Spanish in the classroom, and I had to try so hard not to laugh so they didn't know that I understood them. It was good fun.
Awesome. And another great setup for my next question. But like, for those of you that are just tuning in, let's pause for some station identification. This is International TEFL Academy. You're watching a round table of staff members who taught in Europe. We're sharing some of their experiences and what it's like to teach in Europe. So if you're just checking in, feel free to drop a comment, a question. I'm using this on my acting highlight reel, so I'm going to delay it as much as possible so I can get this airtime. Speaking of funny things in the classroom, let's go around the table. 10 words or less, Erica. Funniest moment that you had in the classroom from a student or from somebody that you were private teaching.
Let's see. Okay, I'm going to share a very amusing one. So my classroom management skills with children leave something to be desired. I was not very good at pulling the authoritative card and like being serious with my students. I like to be humorous with them. And so I think because of that, they probably knew, oh, Erica lets us get away with a few extra things. So I actually had a student like jump out the window during class. And I was like, where are you going? How did you get out there? But he was totally fine. Parents didn't find out. It's all good. But that was my moment.
He jumped out the window.
Jumped out the window. It's okay. We are on the ground floor though. No, there were no injuries, no parent complaints, but it happened.
Yeah, well, that's it's interesting. Moving your seat as we speak.
Sure. All right. Can I do 20 words?
You can do 20 words.
All right. So in the Czech Republic, instead of saying like, really? Are you sure? They'll say like the word fact. But how they pronounce it, it's actually fact. So, should never ask this question. I'm saying the word fact in a Czech accent. So
Gotcha.
a lot of times that I had to, and then when they would use the word fact in English, they would oftentimes mispronounce it fact. And I'd have to say it's actually fact as a safer way to say that word.
and they were worried about me on the live TV. Erin.
We got some good ones.
Well, mine actually goes along with that. I had to have a whole lesson on how to say the I sound I, because very Midwestern is to say get out a sheet of paper. So I say get out a sheet. Ha, teacher said sheet. I'm like, no. I said sheet as a piece of paper. And so after I did that, I was like, okay, this is how you make an I sound in English. So the next topic was talking about the beach. She said beach. And I'm like, all right. So we spent the whole lesson going over the I sound and how it is different. And now there is a group of kids that can say that sound really, really well after that.
Well, thank you, Erin, for stealing mine, because that's the same in Italy. Same idea. Pronunciation, there's always weird like mishaps and things that people will say. But yes, just like Erin said, like, oh, what did you guys do this weekend? Oh, teacher, I went to the beach. I'm like, oh, the beach. Okay, great. I'm glad that you guys had a good time. So yeah, you're going to get funny pronunciations of things, but that just, we probably say really funny things too when we're speaking in their language.
I was going for like a kid kicked you in the shin or something, but we'll take this too. Going to these countries, you spend a lot of time there. What is one, it's kind of like a wrap-up question, I guess, but give me one tip of advice for someone that wants to teach in your country, and at the same time explain why your country, where you taught, should be their destination. I'm gonna let you think on that because we got one more question here as well coming in. This is, anyone teach at adult language schools? That is a lot of times what we'll tell you is if you're looking to teach children, a lot of times that's Asia, but if you're looking to teach adults in Europe, most of the time you'll be teaching at adult language schools, probably teaching people that are looking to learn business English and business professionals, as Helen alluded to, teaching lawyers. I know we have people on staff that taught judges and Supreme Court judges in Spain. So definitely that is your market when you're in Europe.
I'm ready.
You're ready.
I'm ready. So my number one piece of advice, if you were going to teach in, Europe as a whole, but specifically in the Czech Republic, is be sure to take advantage of the travel opportunities. For 20 euros, I could get on a bus or a train and be in 4 different countries, where there's 4 different languages, 4 different types of cuisine. Like if you're over there, of course you want to enjoy some of the time in your home city, make some friends, but definitely take advantage and take those travel opportunities while you can. Second piece, why should you teach in the Czech Republic? Travel, food. If you like, there's 2 things you need to know about the Czech Republic. Okay. Most castles per square mile in the world of any country, and the most beer consumption per capita of any country in the world. So if you like beer and castles, that's your spot.
It's cheaper than water, right?
It is oftentimes cheaper than water.
We will fact check that as well, but that's nice. Erica, why Spain?
Yeah, so, and I'll start out with the tip as well. So my tip would just be consider private tutoring as your main source of income. It was honestly like same situation as Danielle, like triple the salary that I was making at language academies, but be patient and persistent with it. Build out that pipeline. Spanish people are so social and will help you like spread the word of mouth so that you can like find more students. It's really, really great. And then I encourage you as a tip for when you're in Spain, and also a reason to pick Spain. People over there are so extremely social and so excited to meet new people. I have never had a single Spanish friend who like turned down a social opportunity or a chance to like go grab a drink or dinner. So take advantage of that. You're new to the city. They're probably excited to meet you, and mingle with the locals. Like make sure that you're, practicing the language over there. And it's a reason to pick Spain because they're really, really excited to meet you.
We're also going to fact check if you were never rejected for plans. So that's on the list too. Helen.
I'll go through my WhatsApps.
That's funny, Tyler. You're on today.
Thanks.
Wait, first tell us why you chose Poland and what tip you would do? Why someone should go there?
I've been begging to talk about this because, as again, if you missed the beginning, I wasn't asked to be on the panel. I'm going to go with what Britton said. You can travel. You can get around easily. I can't wait to do this. I'm going to name drop Mumford & Sons. I flew to Rome to see them just for 30 euro to see the greatest band live. So definitely because of the travel. you're close to everything and you're not on the euro.
Mumford and Sons and then the Beatles, is that how it goes?
Exactly. That's how I have 1 and 1A.
Cool. Yeah, no, so in Madrid, let's see, a tip would, definitely just get out there. I think a biggest tip for just Spain, but Europe in general, I was a little intimidated coming over without a job, but it is, the market is saturated during those hiring seasons. Just go and do it. And we have a really awesome, really set alumni group, so you can connect with people in all these major cities around Europe. So if you want to chat with people in, Madrid, that's a great way to, it's a great way. You guys tapping? It's a great way to do it. And just to meet people and then also just get a job, find roommates through our alumni network is a great way to do that. And then why Spain? I mean, you learn Spanish, probably, you can use it in half of the countries around the world. Don't fact check that because that's not right. But it's just a great social place where you're gonna, you feel like you're in another country, but you have all the niceties of home. Like I found my hair curler today that I couldn't find in Chicago, and they have it here. So, Spain.
Awesome. I that is on the list to go to Spain, and sadly I have not been there. Danielle, Italy.
So kind of like what Helen said, not being intimidated by the fact that you're going to go over there and apply for jobs in person. I very much tried to apply for jobs, secure interviews, do whatever I could from the United States. And I either didn't get responses from schools, or they also would just tell me, hey, your resume looks great. We're so excited that you want to be here. But when you come here, let us know, and then we'll interview you in person. So it's really just the way that it goes. I went over to Italy. I brought my resumes to schools. I say this all the time. I arrived October 6th, and I was in the classroom teaching October 16th. It was super quick, 10 days that I was, getting acclimated, applying for jobs and all that stuff. So don't be scared of it. It's just the way that it goes. And then why teach in Italy? Food. There's no other reason. There's reasons to go. There's no other explanation. The food is amazing. Eat everything. Eat it all. Love life. And then you'll just work out when you get home. But eat it all.
I sadly did not get to enjoy the food in Rome. It's a different story. Erin, France.
It definitely is a lot of work. Got to be prepared to hustle, and that you are going to have to try, to find private teaching or things like that. But it's so worth it. I really recommend just diving into the culture. You want to be a part of it. So try and do things like meetups, or go to that bar and just insert yourself in the conversation. Try and meet locals and things like that. I think a lot of people get so focused on, I have to do this and this and this and this and this, that they forget that they are in a new country. And it is so amazing. So don't forget that. Traveling is also amazing. Do the travel inside your own country too. There's so much to see. And that's something that I love about France. I mean, besides the fact that they just won the World Cup, hello. All right. Obviously, there's so much there. Wine, food, cheese. I mean, I know Britton talked about castles, but chateaus in France. I mean, there is so much to see. There's so much history. It's got a little bit of everything: mountains, snow, beaches, things like that. You really can't go wrong when you're teaching in France with a program.
Tyler, what do you think chateau means?
I was just gonna Google it after. I spent 24 lovely hours in Paris. All right, I know France like the back of my hand. So hopefully you got a little insight and glimpse into what it's like to teach in Europe. We talked to a lot of students as advisors, which, again, I know you're probably tired of me saying it, but if you do have questions, please contact an advisor and chat, because there are going to be a lot of different personal questions in different circumstances. But one of the questions that I get on the phone a lot is people that want to go to Europe, but they see break-even salary, they see getting their job in person, and it maybe scares them off. And hopefully this roundtable here, I mean, Danielle can get a job in 10 days. You can get a job in 10 days. And that wasn't a slight towards you. I was trying to make some sort of how to lose a guy in 10 days joke. Couldn't come to me. But hopefully this shows you that you can absolutely do it, and that there's a lot of possibilities out there. So please reach out to your advisor. If there are no more questions, thank you all for taking the time to join us here at the roundtable. And maybe I'll see you guys again hosting another one. Bye.
Bye, guys.